everybody to Senior Marketing Specialist University presents the Building Your Marketing and Lead System. You are joined today by your teachers, by your educators, by your professors. My name is Olivia Richardson. I am the Executive Sales Director at Senior Marketing Specialist.
And I am Sadie Palmer. I am the Training and Education Specialist Team Leader.
Yeah,
yes.
You keep saying specialist, but you're a team leader.
I know,
now.
I can't.
You
I
lead
kind
a
of
team.
Yeah, I do lead a team of training and education. That's why I'm here. Okay, let's go ahead and get into this. So this webinar, and a lot of the way that we teach marketing and leads is we like to split it up into two different ways because your efforts and what you do, the systems are going to look a little bit different depending on if you're wanting to gain new clients or prospecting, or if you're wanting to grow your existing book of business. If you're wanting to grow your business, that's going to be more marketing efforts. Now, the reason why we split these up is, like I said, you're going to go and approach these things two different ways, in a couple different ways, mainly because prospecting is going to be something that is more lead heavy. That's where you're focusing on your leads, and that's going to be, how do I get a sale today, or how do I get a sale tomorrow? And then marketing is going to be something that's going to be building. It's going to be something that's ongoing, and it's going to be a way that you're going to ensure that your business is here in 30 years. It's something that you're not going to, might not get a sale out of it today, but you're building that brand recognition, you're building your brand.
Both extremely important, but done very differently. And that's when we talk about making sure you have the right expectations. Marketing, if you're doing marketing and you've been doing it for a week and you're frustrated, you're not getting results, you don't have the right expectations. So that's exactly what we're talking about today. What your expectations should be between prospecting and marketing. If I have any people who majored in college on marketing and sales, we're also talking about can be related to push versus pull marketing as well. So we can get into that later, but I think Sadie did an excellent job of kind of setting us up to starting out with, how do you gain new clients? That's where we're going to start first. How do you get new butts in that seat across from you? How do you get into more homes? How do you get new members to your business?
Yes, so like she said, we're going to start with this gaining new clients. And before we really dive into that, we want to talk about the three-prong marketing system. Now, one reason why we talk about having a three-prong marketing system is essentially this is going to be something that's going to keep you from putting all of your marketing efforts, all of your money, all of your eggs into one basket.
You even have right here, eggs in a basket.
Yes,
we've done this before.
We have done this before. So it's going to be something that's going to help you figure out what lead systems, marketing efforts for prospects is going to be the most successful for you and your business in the time of year and all that sort of jazz. So essentially what this three-prong marketing system is you have three of those marketing efforts always going on at once. You're not just focusing on one type. So for example, having mailers going on at the same time that you're cold calling, on the same time that you're doing seminars, just for an example.
Yeah, and it also, again, to be put in mind that the reason why we say you have to do these for an extended amount of time, we say have a marketing system going for at least 3 months before you can really judge to see if that marketing system is giving you returns or is a profitable marketing system. For example, we pick on mailers a lot. You may do a mail drop and get a 5% return. The next time you do that mail drop, you may get a 0.0% return. And so it's not really fair to judge a market based off of trying it one time. You have to do it for an extended amount of period. Again, we say 3 months. That also goes into the 3-month market or three-prong marketing system. If one time you do that mailer and your return is zilch or right next to zilch, then you've really put yourself at a disadvantage in keeping that funnel full. When we say keeping that funnel full, what we talk about is really limiting on how many people are seeing your message all the way down to what that sale looks like. The more people that see your message, the more people you get in front of, the more you're going to have sales. So that's why we say three-prong marketing systems are the best way to keep your funnels full.
Yes, and one thing to keep in mind is that though we are a very lead-hungry industry, the goal is to not rely on leads forever. The goal is to just get people in the door so that way you can retain that business, because that's really where you're going to grow your businesses with those people you already have on the books and the new products that you bring on with those clients. So just keep that in mind. You don't want all 3 of your prongs to be just lead generation. You want to make sure that that's just one of your 3 prongs.
Exactly. When we talk to our top agents who are, again, writing millions of dollars worth of API each year, they don't rely on leads. They'll tell you, I haven't bought a lead in years. They work on their marketing efforts, not their prospecting efforts, their marketing efforts to bring in those new people. And we'll talk about that as well today. But leads are great for boosting your business. Leads are great for building your business. And it really should stop there. Like Sadie mentioned, not something to rely on long term.
Yes.
So let's get into what potentially 3-prong marketing system can look like. We give you several options here. There are more than this available, but these are the most popular to our industry. What's really great about marketing and prospecting is that the more creative you are, the more it's likely to work. So there are a million ways to do this. These are just kind of the fundamental what they come down to. And we're going to go into each one of these more intently. So just to give you an idea, here's a list. Pick 3 of them. Pick 3, and let's start first with the direct mail option. We get asked a lot about what is the success rate of direct mail, and we've used that because it's one of the direct mail has been the reigning king of leads for the last 5-8 years. It has been something where most people are actually going the direct mail route, and the reason for that is because mail has actually slowed down a ton with the growing of calling and internet, and that's just marketing in general. So a lot of people are still going back to mail order leads. Now, when we say direct mail, we're talking about using a mail house like ARM, Target Leads, or our favorite lead concepts. We're not talking about building your own lead and advertising. The reason for that is because you're going to get next to 0 return when you create your own lead or your own mailer. When you use a lead house, number one, they have the content, they have the proven wording and verbiage that works. There's somebody is liable, somebody is responsible for those lead returns, but it doesn't look pretty. If you ever looked at direct mailers, they look like they're like on a typewriter. They look super official. Honestly, the majority of people will return them because it does look like an official document that's required to be filled out, even though all the wording says this is advertising, blah, blah, blah. You're still going to get a higher return. So these are the numbers. Again, if you do a 1,000-piece mailer, you can expect about, there's all the breakdowns from that. You can honestly expect about 3 sales for that. So some pros and cons for doing these direct mail drops. Some pros is, like Sadie mentioned, this is a tomorrow tactic. This is something that, by the time you order the leads, it's about 3 weeks for you to get those leads. They're also easier to work because you have a door opener. It's, hey, you filled out this card. Here's your handwriting. Here's your information. So they're less confused as to why you're reaching out to them. So they're easy to follow up with, and they're not time consuming. You submit your order and then you move on to the next thing. You don't actually have to start taking time to work these leads until they start trickling back in. Yes. So they're by far the most time consuming. And again, that is a tomorrow tactic. The cons of doing a direct mail drop is that the client acquisition cost is pretty high. Again, if you look at a mailer, when all this broken down, it's about $200 per client by the time you get 3 sales off of a direct mailer, if you're using these numbers. So the client acquisition cost is much higher. You are paying for all those pros we talked about earlier. So it is a great technique, but you just have to be willing to shovel out that money.
Yes, and one thing that we do want to add on here, kind of a note, is probably stay away from that T65.
For sure.
Because like she said, mail is kind of going down. There's email, there's a million other ways to communicate nowadays. But one of the markets or one of the demographics that hasn't slowed down really is that T65.
For sure.
And so my mother-in-law just turned 65 this last month. And I saw it in real life, a real life example. She said, whenever I started getting these mailers, I tried to keep all of them just that way I could sort through them. And she goes, it got to the point where I had so many, I had to throw them away.
And you just throw them all away. You're literally, and that's you literally throwing away money.
Yes, exactly. So probably stay away from that T65 market because it's still pretty saturated, even though mail has gone down in general.
I'd also highly recommend staying away from, we talk about this is the most popular mailer, is just the Medicare mailer, questions on your Medicare benefits, things like that.
Yeah.
Stay away from that, actually. We actually have done some research and find that dental, vision, and hearing mailers have between a 5 to 8% return on investment. So instead of just getting 3, you're getting 20, 25 leads for the same cost. And so again, the purpose of that is you're going to get more people. Plus, with dental, vision, and hearing, there is no underwriting for those, and the price is much lower. So that trust barrier is not nearly as big of a deal with a product like dental, vision, and hearing.
Yes.
So you get a higher return, you get higher closing, and dental, vision, and hearing is a perfect segue product to talk about Medicare. So it only works to do DVH if you have the ability to cross-sell and have the ability to set the expectations that, hey, I'm going to take care of you holistically. But again, so we do recommend, if you are going to do it, Sadie said it perfectly, stay away from turning 65 and try a different product like dental, vision, and hearing.
Yes.
So that is the first one. Again, guys, we're trying to be really time sensitive with all of this. So there's more to be said, but let's move on now for door knocking. Door knocking was extremely popular method of selling in the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s. Have really slowed down. Again, you can kind of see these numbers. What a lot of people do is take the door knocking. They'll actually take what they call the galley list from the direct mails that they send out. So it's kind of that 1-2 punch.
Okay.
Send a mailer out with a lead house, then follow up door knocking because you can get the addresses. They were sent to an address. So you get those addresses. It's like an extra $20 from the lead company. And then you go door knock and you knock on the door and say, hey, I sent you something in the mail earlier this month or a few weeks ago. It was really important. I didn't know if you had time to discuss that today. So again, those are the kind of the numbers that you're seeing with door knocking. We are seeing, obviously, with COVID-19, a bit of a dip in door knocking. I will say our sister company, Senior Benefit Services, had an agent that did continue to door knock throughout COVID-19 and was actually one of the leading sales agents because a lot of those individuals were desperate to be with people.
Yes.
So he door knocked and people were inviting them into his home because they just wanted to be around others.
Yeah.
So again, it depends on the market that you're in. If you're in a more rural market, like where I grew up, my next door neighbor is a sheep. So it wouldn't, like where I grew up, I am miles away from civilization. So door knocking there may not be as helpful because you're spending a lot of time on the road.
Yeah.
Door knocking is really great if you are meeting someone in their home, and in between appointments, pull up, Senior Marketing Specialist has an awesome tool called the T65 locator. And you can go be in an area and say, who in this neighborhood is turning 65? Pull that up and go door knock those individuals. So do really like that. I'm sorry, I'm kind of monopolizing this, but I'm going to finish up with one more thing.
Sure.
Pros and cons of door knocking. Pros, door knocking is extremely low cost. It doesn't cost you anything to walk up to a door, knock on it, and talk to the individual. The cons of that, it is extremely time consuming because, again, you're actively out of the office. You're not doing anything other than walking up to a door and physically knocking on it. And as we see here, you knock on 985 doors, you're going to get one sale out of that. So it's definitely a numbers game. It can be exhausting, but it's low cost and it does work.
Yes. And this is one thing you have to keep in mind with door knocking. Most likely you're not going to get a sale right then and there. This is one of those prospecting things that you might not get, a sale today. It's something that's going to build the business, but there's something to be said about one of their first interactions with you, maybe second after that mailer, is in person. They see who you are, they get to know you. And there's a lot to be said about that as well. You're starting to build that relationship almost immediately with that prospecting. So even though it's something that you might not get it, it's a long-term investment with that relationship.
For sure. Jim asked a great question. Is door knocking compliant? So in every state except for Ohio, yes. Ohio, you cannot door knock or cold call anything Medicare related. When compliance becomes a concern or compliance becomes part of the conversation, it's whenever you're discussing Medicare Advantage benefits, Medicare Advantage or Part D benefits, anything that's mandated by CMS. So you can't door knock on somebody and say, hey, I have a Medicare Advantage plan you might be interested in. That's not compliant. But door knocking on somebody saying, hey, I see you recently celebrated your 65th birthday. I work with individuals in this neighborhood to help them navigate the Medicare market. I'm more than happy to offer that service to you. Now, one thing I'll make there, I have 4 tips. 4 tips if you are going to go door knocking. So hopefully, Jim, that answered your questions. Stay away from door knocking or prospecting MA or PDP. Keep it very general, keep it Medicare focused.
And also keep in mind, some places require a permit.
Is
that right?
True. Yeah,
Okay.
that is actually by county, by state.
Okay.
So always double check in the area that you are going to be door knocking to see if you need to have a door knocking permit to do that. And you can always attain those at the county court offices or courthouse if you needed to. Some require that, others don't. I'm not going to tell you to skirt any rules by any means, so just be intelligent on what you're doing with that. Very good point. So couple things, again, we mentioned one tip was do it between appointments. If you're seeing somebody and you have a couple of appointments in a neighborhood, if you are, visiting people in their homes, then do it in between appointments. Just kind of make the most out of that time. Use the T65 locator that senior marketing specialist has. Number 2, dress the part. You don't have to be in full business suit, but I do recommend always having a lanyard where it has your name, or you can actually have a copy of your license to show you're valid, to show people that you're not door-to-door scamming. Making sure that you look professional, you don't look sketchy, because it is a first impression. Number 3, I actually love and had a lot of agents do success with people turning 64. They show, like, again, I whenever we call that push style marketing or this prospecting, 9 out of 10 times I say stay away from T65ers because you're wasting your money.
Right.
We don't have the same budgets that United Healthcare, Mutual of Omaha, Aetna has, who's marketing to the same demographic. However, there has been a lot of success with people doing this when they turn 64. And what they do is they turn 64, they'll knock on the door and say, hi, happy birthday. I know you recently just had a birthday. The next birthday, when you turn 65, you're actually within this next year from being 64 to 65 years old, you're about to get inundated with a ton of mail. Some of it's going to look super official. Some of it is going to be obvious advertising, but it's really hard to differentiate what's what. So I'm going to give you this bag. And that's where the agent gives them like a tote bag with their logo all over it and say, you can put everything that says the word Medicare or Social Security in this bag. And then in 3 months from your 65th birthday, call this number on the bag, we will set an appointment and go through this together. 90% of what you have in there is going to be garbage. 10% of it's going to be useful and needed in order for you to enroll in Medicare. It's not fair for you to have to decipher what's advertising, what's not. We'll do that together.
Yeah.
It costs a little more money because you're giving them a tote and it costs that time, but there has been an amazing amount of success of agents utilizing that tactic. So if you're going to door knock, I would try that way.
Absolutely.
Number 3 is going to be cold calling. Really a similar tactic as door knocking, more time efficient, but kind of the same concept with doing it that way.
Yes, absolutely. So this is going to be something that you are going to have to invest a lot of time in. It's something that even like your admin could be doing as well if you're setting up appointments or anything like this. But basically it kind of gets you out. So greatly expand your footprint across the state. You're able to reach a lot more people via phone than you are door knocking.
Exactly.
So it kind of helps you spread out your map a little bit there. Like it said, can be used for selling over the phone or setting appointments. So cold calling can also just be having someone set up your appointments for you. One thing that's kind of similar to door knocking, but maybe just on a different level, lower level, is they're hearing your voice. They're getting to know you pretty immediately. Now, there is one thing whenever it comes with coming with that, you're going to have to introduce yourself pretty much immediately.
Yeah.
Because they want to know.
They're not listening to a word you say until they understand who you are and what you're calling.
Yes, exactly. So make sure that you're introducing yourself immediately, but a pro to that is you are starting off that relationship. They're hearing your voice. They're getting to know your personality a lot quicker. Now, one big thing that we always advise whenever you're going to cold call is you need to invest in a dialer system. And that's because it's going to save you, even though you're investing in it, it'll save you a lot of time.
For sure. I got my start in this industry cold calling. That was what I did. Day one, sat in an office, picked up a phone and started dialing. And if all you're doing is leaving voicemails, the average person can call 30 numbers per hour. And this is 100% a numbers game. The more numbers you call, the more people you talk to. The more people you talk to, the more appointments you set. The more appointments you set, the more sales you have.
Yeah.
So it can be, 30 calls in 1 hour isn't really an effective method of marketing or effective method of appointment setting. So we do recommend a dialer system. Joseph is asking any recommendations for that. we recommend a company called Prospect Boss. Prospect Boss actually got their start in the industry by working with real estate agents for this exact reason, but they quickly moved into the insurance area because of that. So there is a 3-line dialer system, and they input the data for you. So you don't have to type in or find the phone numbers. You put, I want turning 64 or turning 70 in this zip code in this area, go. It'll dial 4 lines at once. It'll automatically leave the voicemails for you. And then if somebody does answer, it does automatically kill the other lines and gets that person on the phone with you. So you're actually hearing them say hello. We all know that we've all had, like, especially like in the early 2000s, the telemarketers where you answer the phone, like, hello, 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 and then 3 seconds later, somebody would finally start talking to you. This doesn't operate that way. You actually get to hear the person say hello. It is super helpful, again, because you're cold calling. Stay away from Medicare Advantage, stay away from PDP. I actually recommend cold calling the turning 68 market for the reason the market is completely left alone. Most people have been orphaned by their agents at that point. A lot of people haven't yet retired. So at 65, they were not retired yet. They'll start that conversation at 68. The national average of retirement is 67 now. And again, people aren't being so inundated at that point. Yes. So try the 68, the 69 market. It works very, very well. That is what we recommend for cold calling. Pros of that, we've talked about it. Low cost. Prospecting Boss is $99 a month. It is not an annual contract. It's $99 a month, but that comes with, I think it's now up to 4 lines and unlimited data. So it is worth it, in my opinion. And it's easy, and it's easy to close. You can either set the appointment or you can sell it right there, making it really, efficient. Cons is that it's exhausting. Again, I got my start in this industry cold calling, and it's literally draining. Yeah. So it can be really exhausting to get told no as many times as you're going to get told no on the phone. It is time consuming, and people are geared and really trained to not trust people on the phone. So you have a much higher trust barrier to overcome where you're doing things on the phone. Now, we do have a ton of tips on how to use telephonic sales, telephonic appointment settings. We don't have time to go in and all today, but on our SMS University, we have a full video on how to telephonic leads, because we didn't even get into today not cultivating your own leads, but purchasing telephonic leads through a provider like Lead Heroes. And there's 3 types of that. Again, we don't have time. If you guys are interested and want to know more about telephonic leads, stay on to the end. I just want to be really conscious of everybody's time here. We can discuss that, or just go to our university. We have a lot of content on there on telephonic leads.
Yes. One thing I will add, though, one tip that I will add about phone calling or cold calling is have an online presence. And the reason why I say that is because we'll talk about it a little bit later. So this kind of shows you the importance is there is that big barrier of trust to overcome. And if you have an online presence, they can Google you, they can see your Facebook page, they can see your website, and automatically know. Yes, exactly. They know that you're legit. They know that you're not just some sketchy scam artist, which is a real threat.
Oh my gosh,
something that people are afraid of.
The senior market is so targeted by scam artists. It's good for them to be careful.
Yes.
But you hit the nail on the head. Having an online presence to point them to say, hey, do some research on me to know that I'm real and legit. Yeah. Having a website, having a Facebook page is going to 100% overcome that trust barrier.
Yes.
Joseph, he says, thank you. He's actually in the market for a dialer system. Again, Prospect Boss. Go to Senior Marketing Specialist's page, because if you don't use Senior Marketing Specialist, it costs about $150 a month. You get a pretty hefty discount if you're an agent with us. So so make sure you can talk to our team, and it might be something we also want to send in the post email.
For sure.
So Sadie will send that out in the post email. So we'll get you that information. And let's see, another question we asked was, does Prospect Boss have texting and ringless voicemail? So ringless voicemail has actually been deemed not compliant, not by Medicare, but by the, oh my gosh, what's it called? The trade, it's TMF something, but it's not, it's the advertising compliance. Not fake, it's not Medicare compliance, it's advertising compliance, and this is gonna drive me crazy what it's called, but it's actually ringless voicemail is actually illegal. Some organizations will still do it. I don't recommend it. And Terry says, I got a robocall for Medicare with no person. Very annoying. I agree, Terry. Yep. Down with robocalls. I am over them. So, okay. So then was moving on, and just an effort at a time. If you have more questions on this, stick to the end. Just want to be conscious of everybody's time here. Seminars and events, by far my favorite prospecting tool and client acquisition tool because it accomplishes both marketing and prospecting at the same time.
Yes, absolutely. And it also reaches a lot of people. It's going to be, like she said, it's going to reach the people who are new clients, those prospects. It's going to be something where your current clients can come and you can kind of help build, cross-sell, do all that sort of stuff. Well, not cross-sell, but you know.
You can, yeah, for sure.
I guess so. I guess you could. But then also it's going to attract people like their family. It's going to attract caretakers. It's going to attract other people as well that are helping make decisions in those people's lives.
A very wide net.
Yes, exactly. So whenever it comes to seminars, one thing that we like to say is consistency is kind of key with this. It's a great way to build your reputation as a local expert in your area, but you have to do it consistently. We want to say about 20 minutes tops. Make sure that you're doing it the same time and place at least once a month and rotate those topics. Now, for topics, one thing that we say is kind of stay away from those things that are only going to, things like Medicare 101s. No one wants to sit through Medicare 101.
No, we work in Medicare and we don't want to talk about Medicare 101. That's my least favorite training that we do.
Yes, we have one later today. It's 2 hours. It's going to be a whole thing, okay? But we got to do it. Whatever.
I will say it does attract the turning 65 market, which is like the only prospecting tool that we talk about that is designed for T65ers, but it only attracts the T65ers.
Yes.
So doing content like, I know I'm stealing your thunder, but doing content of things like top 10 things you didn't know about Medicare.
Yes.
5 biggest Medicare mistakes, Medicare and diabetes. Doing things like that will attract the turning 65ers, but will also attract people who have been on Medicare for some time who are interested in a 101 course. So just being really creative with what you're talking about, what your seminars are about. I was talking about this the other day on a Medicare cafe that I work with an agent that actually partnered up with a personal trainer, and they did a Medicare series on wellness, like what does Medicare offer to keep you healthy, like wellness stuff. And the personal trainer did a content on, you know, exercises to keep you young, exercises to keep you on your feet. And so they drew a huge crowd and he got a lot of sales out of it, but it wasn't, you know, a typical, it was a very creative seminar that they did.
Yes, that's an awesome point. Seminars and events are ways that you can partner with other professionals. And so I've never thought about doing something maybe like that. You think of more like financial planners and stuff like that. But it's a way for you to be able to kind of get referrals from another professional, other people that are taking care of your clients with things that you can't, and vice versa. So it's a great way to partner with other professionals, get your name out there.
Absolutely. Build that networking that we're going to be talking about here in a little bit.
Yes, exactly.
Now there is some questions, some compliance questions around seminars. Essentially, all you need to know, there is registered seminars and unregistered seminars. What a registered seminar means is that you are doing a specific Medicare Advantage or PDP related topic. So you're going over United Healthcare's plan in this county. Those have to be registered through the carrier that you're going to be discussing. And again, there's some content that comes with that. If you have questions, reach out to us about what the process is, what that looks like. It's not difficult, but it does obviously add some red tape. Everything else is unregistered. So if you don't talk about specific Medicare Advantage or PDP plans, you do not have to register that event, and it makes it a lot easier. We also have on here just events in general, talking about kiosks, booths, going out and just making people more familiar with your brand. So going to like the senior center, doing, I know we have agents that go and work at the state fair and they'll have booths set up at their local state fairs, things like that. The biggest thing for seminars and events is to have a call to action, because warm and fuzzies won't pay the bill.
Right.
And so you think like, oh, I did this event. Well, what we see a lot of times happening is if you do this event, you teach people about Medicare, they then go and self-enroll, because now they're like, oh, well, now I know the stuff. Let me go enroll in this plan. And it's not because they're hateful or they don't like you. It's just they didn't have a call to action. They don't know what their next step is. So you have to tell them exactly what that next step is and get them excited about the process while they're still in that mindset. Because the minute that they leave that building or leave that lesson, they're on to the next thing.
Yes.
So again, really quickly, what I tell my agents to do is to have, if you're doing it face-to-face, because you can do these virtually as well, if you're face-to-face, have like one of those desk calendars, like the big boys at the back of the room, and have pre-made appointments set for like 2 weeks out, a week out. And then so if you're expecting like 10 people to be at that seminar, have like six appointments set. So a little bit of supply and demand situation going on. And then just say, thank you guys so much after your 20-minute meeting. Try not to do more than that because people do not have a great attention span. Say, thank you guys so much for hanging out with us today. Now, Medicare is such a personal conversation. What you should be expecting from your Medicare is not even what your neighbor or even your spouse should be expecting from theirs.
Right.
So if you want to sit down and have a conversation about your Medicare benefits, I have appointments set up at the back of the room. Go ahead and claim one of those spots so we can sit down and meet for 30 minutes about what you should be expecting. Now, if one of those spots don't fit for you or they're all filled up because I only have 6 spots available there, it looks like we have about 10 people here, come see me and let's you and I have to sit down, and because it's important enough that we need to meet about it, I want to make sure I have the time for you. So come see me. We'll set up an appointment on our own.
Yes.
Call to action.
Yes. So those are seminar events. We love seminar events. Really excited that, well, a lot of people see a lot of success out of it, which is exciting because during COVID and stuff, things kind of got weird, but we're seeing a lot of people pick back up with those seminar events, kind of like door knocking, where people are just excited to be with, especially that demographic. They were so lonely and alone and vulnerable, and now we have systems and processes in places. And so, yeah, exciting that seminars and events are kind of coming back up. Now, let's jump into internet leads and Facebook leads. We purposely have separated these two because you're going to go about them completely different, even though Facebook is technically on the internet.
Facebook is on the internet, but Facebook and leads and internet leads are, what's the word where they're like concurrent? They're similar, but not the same.
Yeah.
They're cousins.
They're cousins. Yeah. Or maybe, cousins. Well, I won't think too hard about that. Okay. Internet leads. We got to get you guys out of here. So essentially what an internet lead is, someone goes online and they fill out a form saying basically like, hey, I'm interested, I want some more information. And it's kind of available to people who, it's going to be, what am I trying to say here?
People who are tech savvy, a lot of your turning 65ers are the ones who are going to be using internet leads because they're actively searching for information about Medicare.
Yes.
And so they're the ones who are going to be filling out the form saying, yes, I have questions about Medicare, have ones reach out to me.
Yes.
Internet leads are essentially direct mailers in internet format. They're the exact same thing.
Now, one big thing about internet leads that you have to know is that your biggest competition is going to be those call centers. And that's because internet leads are considered cold after 3 to 5 minutes. So essentially you have to get on that lead immediately. These are really great for virtual agencies, but like we said, your biggest competition is going to be those call centers because they have the manpower and they have the time and the efforts to get on those leads immediately. So keep that in mind.
Call centers, again, there's so much research being done around call centers and Medicare, and they're finding out that call centers will actually reach out to that person within 15 seconds of them pushing submit. So that's why that these are considered cold after 3 to 5 minutes, because they're very much, I need this right now. If you're not calling me within that time period, I'm on to the next thing.
Yes.
Little different than Facebook leads. Facebook leads, again, we talk about advertising versus boosted posts. Boosted posts are just to make sure that like, hey, if you haven't liked my Facebook page, you're still going to see this content from me.
Yeah.
That's boosted. I love people boosting their own posts. We can talk about that if you guys have questions on boosting versus ads. Advertisement, I do not recommend anybody build their own Facebook advertising. Boosting, yes. Advertising, no. Because it's essentially an internet lead, but in the realm of Facebook, much more micro fished is with that advertising. So I do recommend you outsource that. We recommend Secure Agent Network.
Yes.
They do, we actually use them for our Facebook ads. They're part of our co-op program, but don't make your own. That's the biggest thing. The turnaround time is not as intense. It's not a 3 to 5 minute turnaround time because it is that much more micro dove, but it is still, you do still need a quicker Facebook turnaround time. Facebook leads are actually cheaper than internet leads. I don't know why. I like Facebook leads better. Internet leads that we've looked at have been like $35. Facebook leads right now are around 24.
Yeah.
So I like Facebook better.
Now, one thing you also might want to keep in mind is with the CMS memo that just recently came out.
I didn't even have that. Good point.
Towards the end of last year, essentially it was just a way for CMS. They heard the cries about these Joe Namath ads and all those kind of nasty people out there that are sending out malicious stuff. And then also, I mean, I don't want to straight up be like Joe Namath ads are malicious, but in a way,
they were just wrong.
Yes, they mislead people. So CMS heard the cries. They wanted to do something about it. So you have to make sure that if you're outsourcing these leads, you have to make sure that you know exactly what that advertisement was and looked like, which kind of gets a little hairy because that's how those agencies are making their money. So
they don't want to show you what it looks like because what's going to stop you from doing it yourself.
Yes,
so
exactly.
Just be very careful of that. If you have questions on the CMS update, you can feel free. Again, we can talk about that at the end of today's presentation. Yes, and Kimberly, we do recommend, do we have a company suggestion for obtaining internet leads? Secure Agent Network does also do internet leads. There's also Target Leads will do them. We just haven't seen a ton of success with internet leads, so we don't, because they're more so for call center type and virtual agencies, but Secure Agent Network will do both internet leads and Facebook leads. So they're kind of the ones that we recommend.
Yes. Now, one thing that we do want to talk about, this is pretty exciting because if we can get to it, there we go. One thing that we do want to talk about is our new co-op program that we have with senior marketing specialists. Essentially, this is just our way to partner with you, partner with our agents, select agents on their marketing efforts. And so essentially, if you're consistently writing at least just 10 months or 10 apps a month, this qualifies you for, kind of puts you in a pool for our co-op program.
Yeah, so what we do is we will do 50% of a lead drop, and that lead drop's up to you. You could do a direct mailer with lead concepts. You can do internet leads or Facebook leads with Secure Agent Network. You can do telephonic leads with Lead Heroes. So it is, again, you write 10 apps, those are MedSup or Medicare Advantage apps in a month. We will sponsor half of your next mail drop.
Yes, so we might have a little bit of information on that in the follow-up email. Also, you'll be receiving a follow-up call. I don't know if I mentioned that after this. That's something, please ask about it if you're interested with either our outreach team or our agent resources team, whoever you get on that phone call.
So let's jump into now growing your book of business. We talked a lot, again, all that stuff was how do I get Joe Schmo who's never heard of me before, how do I get them across the table for me? How do I sell that policy? Let's focus now on growing your book of business. And Sadie, what do you mean when we say growing a book of business?
So this just means retaining, working on building the business that you already have on the books. This is not pulling new people in. This is growing and helping flourish the business that you already have established.
I want to make sure it's very clear too. We talk about clients. A lot of agents say, well, I have 300 clients, 50 clients, 1,000 clients. If your client, quote unquote client, has a product with you, and that product is a MedSup with a Medicare or a MedSup with a PDP, I lump those together, or if it's a Medicare Advantage plan and that's it, that's not a client, that's a policyholder. That person is less than 33% likely to stay with you as an agent. That's a policyholder. So we're trying to turn your policyholders into true clients where they're going to stay loyal to you and they're going to refer business to you.
Yes, absolutely. And one of the biggest reasons why we kind of say, hey, it's important to make sure that you're not just focusing on leads, you're retaining those clients that you already have, is the cost. Honestly, this is a business. This is how you all are making your money. Yes, you're trying to do good. Yes, you're trying to take care of a vulnerable demographic, but you're also here to make money. And it is 5 times more costly to bring on a client than it is to just retain the ones that you already have. So financially, it makes more sense to start growing your business rather than constantly focusing on gaining people.
Especially with MedSups and Medicare Advantage. We're one of the only industries that have renewals. Again, if you sell a house, that's a one-time payment. If you, sell a car, that's a one-time thing. We're really lucky that just having relationship and keeping that book on the business, that's how we make income. You don't really make a profit, especially we talked about, if a commissions for a MedSup is going to be about $200, that's how much the average client acquisition cost back in 2018 was $180. I'm sure that's even higher now. You don't really make a profit until year 2 that business being on the books, and you really don't make a profit until you have ancillary products added in that core.
Yes, absolutely. So existing clients are 50% more likely to try a new product and spend 30% more than a new client. That's exactly what she just said. You already have that loyalty built with those existing clients. They already trust you. You don't have to go through, all it is a yes or no answer. It's just comes down to educating them on it.
So we have a couple things that we like to talk about. AMP, Agent Marketing Portfolio. That is something that is offered to senior marketing specialist agents. You get 2 orders a year, but they're entire campaigns where it includes like product specific stuff. So we have like postcards, door hangers, letters, things like that that go towards hospital indemnity plans, home health care, short-term care problems, things like that. But it's a great way. Again, this is what we talk about. We talked about prospecting. We say do not send your own mailers. When you're working with people who already know who you are, send these mailers. They are more pretty, they are more advertising, but they help build name recognition, brand recognition. And again, that recognition builds familiarity. Familiarity equals trust. Trust equals sales. So making sure that it's a great way to stay in front of your clients and letting your current book of business know that you're able to help them holistically and not just with their Medicare benefits.
Yes, and so we don't want to deep dive into this too much, but we did just recently relaunch some new collections and all that sort of stuff. So these are free marketing pieces. Whenever we talked to our graphic designer, whenever she was kind of launching it internally, I asked her, I said, have you guys looked into how much money, if someone uses our marketing pieces, how much money they would be saving instead of going to a graphic designer that they'd have to pay to make these marketing pieces? And she just kind of like laughed and was like, in some scenarios, thousands of dollars. And these are free to our contracted agents.
Proven to have worked.
Yes, exactly. Yes, we already have testimonials that are coming in. So please look into it. Again, another conversation like that, Co-op, to have with whoever you talk to, our agent resources team, whenever they give you a call.
Now, cross-selling, again, we have a whole section of our training about cross-selling, but fact-finding is where the cross-selling happens. Presenting, and where I really like to talk about is this next point, show where the holes are in their coverage. You become the expert, not by teaching them Medicare, but you become the expert by telling them what Medicare doesn't cover. Yes. I don't really care if, again, like going to a doctor, I go to a doctor to get better whenever there's an issue. I don't go to the doctor to tell me about how my body works or how medicine works. Same thing happens. You need to shine a light on things that Medicare doesn't cover. Dental, vision, hearing. How is it covered with home health care? What about when they have a Medicare Advantage plan? What about those holes in coverages? Things like that. That is where the opportunity is, and that's really where they need your help. They don't need to know Medicare. They need to know where they're still liable. Cross-selling is going to build those referrals, build their loyalty, and build your pockets. It's going to build your bank account.
Yes, you are there to take care of your clients holistically. And if you're not, another agent will. So if you're not offering them dental, vision, and hearing, hospital indemnity plans, another agent is, we promise. So make sure.
Stupid.
Yes,
it's so
exactly.
easy to sell against somebody. If I come to your house and be like, oh, your agent sold you this Medicare Advantage plan, but they didn't tell you about the hospital benefit. What else did they not tell you about? I always make sure my clients at least know what's an option. So what else did they not tell you?
Yes.
Really easy to sell against an agent who doesn't talk about ancillary products.
Yes. So these next 2 things that we're going to talk about.
We're almost done, guys.
Yes.
We got 5 more minutes.
Thanks for sticking with us. We have 2 things that we want to go over before we wrap this all up. And these are 2 things that you should constantly be doing, whether you're brand new to the business or you've been in this business for 30 years. That is social media and professional networking. Now, social media is going to be something that the people that have been in the business for 30 years might be giving a little bit of pushback. It's not about, like we have on this first point, it's not about if you should be online, it's how you are online. And that's because your competition is online.
Oh, for sure.
That's fact. Also, it's just where people are spending their time right now. Seniors are online. Just to Google, I don't even have to give you the stats now, just to Google the statistics of seniors online, and I promise you those numbers will prove to you. Yes, seniors are online, especially on Facebook. So you want to focus on Facebook for a lot of reasons, but that's where your main demographic is going to be. Plus, you have that opportunity to do those Facebook ads. Facebook is a relationship building tool. It was designed to connect and build relationships. So it's a way that you're going to be not making sales, not trying to get sales on, you're not selling on Facebook, you're building those relationships, which is something that should be ongoing in your business.
Same thing with professional networking. Be the expert that experts refer. Because again, we bring it back to the doctors. If I am going to a doctor and he's saying, okay, you're going to need knee surgery, this is the surgeon that I recommend, here's the facility that I recommend, I'm probably not going to go on Facebook or go and ask my friends like, hey, I have to get knee surgery, who do you think I should use? I'm going to trust my doctor's opinion because that's the expert that I trust who's going to refer other experts.
Yes.
So building those relationships, it is a long-term thing, because you're building relationship, you're building that trust. Leave money out of it because money is the quickest way to burn a bridge. And what I mean is don't go up to a P&C agent and say, hey, for every referral that I sell, I'll give you an extra $25 and pay for that referral. Don't do that. It will burn a bridge because they may, refer people over to you and then be mad they're not getting paid.
Yep.
And they'll say, well, you're just bad at sales. Or they'll say, well, you sold this person, I referred them, it took you a year, but you still got their information from me, I deserve to get paid for that. Leave money out of it, making sure that it is a service that you're offering to their business, not a form of making money for them.
Yes. So let's go ahead and wrap this up. We made it to the end. Congratulations. Next steps. The next thing that you should be doing whenever we get off this webinar is if you don't already have one, put together a marketing plan. Figure out those 3 prongs that you want to be working on at all times. Give it a few months, see what works best for you and change it up if you need to. The other thing is ask us about AMP and ask us about that co-op program. If you are a contracted agent with us, these are things that are available to you. Mm-hmm. So continue the conversation on those phone calls, reply to the email if you want. We want to talk to you about those 2 new exciting things. And if you're not a contracted agent with us, let's talk about it. Let's talk about the AMP programs and the co-op programs and the thousands of other resources that we can offer you.
Why you should have that contract with us? Because again, you can get a Mutual of Omaha contract anywhere. They're probably going to pay you the same commissions that we can offer you. But just know it. And again, they may also have a co-op program that you're utilizing. But there's so many things that senior marketing specialists will do for you with that contract that I truly believe that no other organization can compete against.
Yes. So now let's go ahead and open it up for questions. We already have a few here.
Yeah.
Terry, this is a really good question, and I'll let you answer this because this is something that you are very passionate about.
Sure.
And yeah.
Sure. So Terry asked, if you get a client that starts with a cancer or DVH, how should you market Medicare without scaring people? And I understand it was actually one of the top reasons why people hate cross-selling or are afraid of cross-selling because they say, I don't want to be the person who's like opening up their jacket and be like, want to buy a Medicare policy.
Right.
Like you don't want to seem pushy. So it's all about, Terry, in my experience, it's all about setting the expectations early so that they expect you to talk about Medicare. So if I get a lead and they're asking me about cancer products, before the appointment even starts for me to sell them a cancer plan or a dental vision hearing plan, in an ideal situation, the first thing you're going to do is say something along the lines of, so I take care of my clients holistically. We're here today to talk about cancer insurance. We're here today to talk about dental vision and hearing. We're going to go be okay with that. But my job is to take care of a client holistically. So I'm also going to be asking you questions about your Medicare coverage, your hospital coverage, your prescription coverage. Because again, we're just looking at a really small piece of the whole package. So whenever you do ask them questions about their Medicare stuff, it's like, they already told me we're going to talk about that.
Yeah.
Now, if you're past that point, maybe you made a DVH sale and haven't quite gotten into that Medicare stuff again, sending them a letter, again, using those AMP pieces to consistently put in front of them like, hey, do you have questions on your Medicare? Hey, do you have questions on your hospital or on your hospital benefits? Doing things like that, just keeping it in front of them, keeping your name in front of them, and keeping your name synopsis with insurance. Doing what Kleenex did to the facial tissue industry or doing what chapstick did to the lip balm industry. When they think insurance, if you're in front of them consistently, then they're going to think of you first. So again, setting the expectations that you're going to take care of them holistically and just keeping in front of them will absolutely help you transition that sale from a cancer client to a full home client.
Yes, and going into the conversation, if I can add, going
Please.
Into the conversation with the mindset of you're educating them, you're not just trying to sell to them. If they say no, then they say no. That's that.
That's okay.
Leave it up to them, but educate them on the risks and let them know, and then it's no harm, no foul on you if they say no and then they end up needing it later. It's always, always, always more important to just educate people on the risks and give them a solution and leave it up to them whether or not they want to take it. Don't not offer it because you're scared.
I would say like I would much rather hear a no, I'm not interested in that product than a why didn't you tell me about this product?
Yes.
Like that's something that like I hope I never have to hear from somebody.
Yes.
Is, why didn't you tell me this?
Yes.
Let's see. I'm gonna mispronounce your name. Follier? That sounds French.
It's kind of little.
You're now Follier. Asked us to put up that first slide. Tell me, is this the slide that you were looking for? Let me know. And then we got asked, what is our website? So our website is smsteam.net, not .com, .net. So Senior Marketing Specialist, SMS Team, like a baseball team, .net.
Yes, and we have that on the last slide.
Sorry.
Also,
it'll tell me what you want.
we have Deborah asking us, is this being recorded? Yes, it is recorded. We'll put it on our YouTube page, and we'll also have it in the follow-up email as well. Let's see.
We also was asking if Prospect Boss, the introduction.
Wait, this one?
It's recorded as well.
Let us know.
We also got asked if Lead Prospects has a texting option. They used to. I don't know if they do currently, but mass texting is something that is actually increasing a ton. In fact, they're showing that close to 70% of people over the age of 65 have a smartphone. So the texting option is becoming huge. So that's definitely something worth looking into. Prospect Boss has that. Karen, good morning, Karen. Is this still morning? It is still morning. Good morning, Karen. She says, what company do we recommend for dental vision and hearing? Oh, Karen, that's such a deep question that it just goes so far. Dental vision and hearing, every company in the last 2 years has launched a new dental vision and hearing plan. Mm-hmm. We kind of stick to one or two. When it comes to selling ancillary products, shop benefits, don't shop carriers. Pick a carrier and then modify those benefits and shop the benefits of that carrier with your client. So on that being said, I really like Central United Life. They actually have two options. They have a select option that comes with a network and another option that does not come with a network. Really like them because they have a dental vision and hearing product that if you want to use all of the benefits that year on hearing or all of the benefits that year on dental, you can. It doesn't limit the amount that you can use per product, which is really nice. It's very rare in the industry. I also really like Emeritus because Emeritus will pay for dentures. It'll pay for what's it called, implants almost immediately.
Oh, yeah.
So those are two plans that I really, really, really like. There's a company, Cigna, just came out with a new DVH. Their biggest thing is that they go all the way up to, I think, age 99 for their DVH benefits. Oh, wow. They also will go up to $5,000 worth of benefits, but they don't pay on dentures and implants. So, but if it were me today, I'm representing Manhattan Lives. Yes. Central United Life. If it was me today, that's what I would do.
Yes.
Okay, and we're going to come all the way back down to this page. We talked about a lot today. So here's our phone number. Here's our website, our training site as well. Again, we talked a lot today about, how to do these different types of leads. How do you work DVH? We could do a 30-minute training per lead generating source. Sure. We just don't have the time, but there is a lot more content on our university. So check out our university. Or call our team. They're more than capable to have those conversations with you. If you're somebody like me and I learned by talking to people through it, we have those resources here as well.
Yes, and like I've said a million times, you will be receiving a follow-up email. I know that sometimes getting emails, you hear, oh, there's a follow-up email. This one is actually really, really worth looking at because it's going to have a lot of resources in there. It's going to have videos. It's going to have white papers. It's going to have a lot of good stuff. So make sure that you look out for that follow-up email.
Oh, and thank you. She's like, thank you so much and keep up the good work.
Thanks.
We did it. Awesome. And we do really appreciate you guys playing along with us. Had a ton of interaction today. Hopefully you guys got as much out of it as Sadie and I enjoyed doing it. So we really appreciate you guys. Give us a call. Let us know what you need and let us be a part of your marketing system. Let us know how we can help you. Use the co-op. Use AMP. Let us help you. Yes. Let us love you.
Let us love you.
Thank you, Arnie. Appreciate you as well. All right. So you guys have a fantastic day. We'll see you next time.
Yes. Thank you.